Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. A simple phrase, yet it has echoed through history, whispered by philosophers, warriors, poets, and kings. But why? Why would anyone want to dwell on death? Why remind ourselves of something so terrifying, so inevitable? Because death, as frightening as it may seem, is not the enemy. Forgetting to live, that is the real tragedy. We live in a world that does everything it can to distract us from our mortality. We entertain ourselves endlessly. We consume media, scroll through our phones, chase careers, accumulate possessions, all in an attempt to ignore the reality that one day none of it will matter. The Stoics, however, did the opposite. They didn't shy away from death. They faced it head-on. They understood that only by embracing death could they truly embrace life. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time." Think about that. Imagine living in such a way that, if you were to die today, you would leave with nothing left unsaid, nothing left undone, no lingering regrets. But do we live that way? No. We assume we have time. We assume that next week, next month, next year, we will still be here, still have opportunities, still have a chance to do the things we keep postponing. But here's the truth. No one is promised tomorrow. Consider how many people woke up this morning believing they had time, believing they would see their loved ones again, believing they could put things off until later. And yet, for some of them, there will be no later. This isn't meant to be morbid. It's meant to be a wake-up call. Because when we acknowledge the reality of death, we gain clarity about life. Ask yourself, how much time have you wasted on things that don't matter? How many moments have you spent angry over something trivial? How often have you held grudges, refused to forgive, ignored the people who love you, chased things that, in the end, won't bring you happiness? Memento Mori forces us to ask, is this how I want to be spending my life? The Stoics understood that the awareness of death is the key to living well. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote to himself daily about death, not because he feared it, but because he knew it was his greatest teacher. He reminded himself that even the greatest emperors before him, Julius Caesar, Augustus, Hadrian, had all died. Their power, their wealth, their legacies, all faded with time. He knew that no matter how grand one's achievements, no matter how rich or famous, death comes for all. So he asked himself, if I will die, if I will be forgotten, then what truly matters? The answer is simple: the way we live, the way we treat people, the way we use our time. Memento Mori is not about fearing death. It's about using death as a compass to guide our choices. If you knew you had only 1 year left, what would you do differently? Would you tell the people you love how much they mean to you? Would you stop caring so much about what strangers think? Would you finally take that risk, pursue that dream, live in a way that feels true to you? Now ask yourself, why aren't you already living that way? We don't control how or when we die, but we do control how we live. Some of the greatest minds in history carried reminders of death with them. Roman generals, when returning from victory, would have a servant whisper in their ear, Memento Mori. Remember that you are mortal. Remember that your triumph is fleeting. Monks in medieval times would keep skulls on their desks, not as decoration, but as a daily reminder. This is where we all end up. Live accordingly. Even today, some people wear rings or pendants with the words Memento Mori engraved on them, not to be morbid, but to keep themselves focused on what truly matters. Because when you carry death with you, you stop wasting time. You stop waiting for the right moment to do what you know you need to do. You stop hesitating. You stop pretending you are immortal. Instead, you start living. You appreciate the simple things, a deep conversation, a sunset, the laughter of a friend. You forgive more easily. Because in the grand scheme of things, most grudges are meaningless. You love more deeply, because you realize that every moment with someone you care about could be the last. You stop chasing things that don't matter, money for the sake of money, approval from people you don't even like, possessions that will only collect dust long after you're gone. You start focusing on things that do matter, your character, your kindness, the impact you leave on the world. the relationships you nurture, the memories you create. Because in the end, it won't matter how many years you lived. It will only matter how well you lived them. One day your name will be spoken for the last time. One day the people who knew you will be gone, and the world will move on as if you were never here. And that's okay, because the point of life is not to be remembered forever. The point of life is to have truly lived while you were here, to love fully, to give generously, to embrace each day as if it were your last, not with fear, but with gratitude. Memento Mori is not about death, it is about life. So ask yourself, if today were your last, how would you live it? And now ask yourself, why aren't you already living that way? Stop wasting time. If you've truly embraced Memento Mori, then there's only one logical next step. Stop wasting time. Time is the most valuable resource you have. More valuable than money. More valuable than possessions, more valuable than anything you could ever own. Because money, if lost, can be regained. Possessions, if stolen, can be replaced. But time, once it's gone forever. We live as if time is infinite, as if we will always have another day, another week, another year to do the things we keep postponing. But every second that passes is a second you will never get back. The time spent yesterday, gone. The hours wasted scrolling through a phone, gone. The days, weeks and months spent procrastinating on things that truly matter, gone. And yet, most people don't realize this until it's too late. Until they're old, looking back, wondering where all their time went, wondering why they wasted so much of it on things that didn't matter. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Let that sink in. Life isn't necessarily short. It just feels short when wasted. Think about how the days are spent, the little distractions, the mindless entertainment. The things done out of habit, not intention. Now ask yourself, if today were the last, would you be proud of how it was spent? Would regret creep in for the time spent on things that didn't matter? Would there be a wish to have done things differently? Most people live as if they are immortal, not in body but in time. They say things like, "I'll start tomorrow, I'll get to it later. One day I'll do that." But how many tomorrows have already passed? How many things have been put off, only to find that weeks, months, even years have slipped by? The most dangerous illusion is thinking there's more time. Because time is not something to have, it's something to use. How is time being used? Is it being spent on endless scrolling, consuming distractions? Or is it being invested in learning, growing, creating, doing things that bring meaning? Is it trapped in cycles of procrastination, telling yourself that dreams will be chased someday? Or is action being taken to make the most of the present moment? Every wasted hour is an hour never returned. Think about all the times the phrase "I'll do it later" has been used. Later, health will be taken seriously. Later, more time will be spent with loved ones. Later, the project that has been waiting will begin. But how many times has later turned into never? How many people have left this world still carrying dreams they never pursued, words they never said, actions they never took? Most people don't take time seriously until it runs out. They don't start truly living until they get a wake-up call, a near-death experience, the loss of a loved one, a diagnosis that reminds them how fragile life really is. And at that moment they realize what a fool they were for wasting so much of it. But why wait for tragedy to wake you up? Why wait until it's too late to start valuing the time you have? Life is being spent, whether you realize it or not. Imagine waking up every morning with a bank account that refills itself with exactly $86,400. There's just one rule. Whatever isn't spent by the end of the day is lost forever. It can't be saved. It can't be carried over to tomorrow. Would it be wasted? Would it disappear unspent? Of course not. It would be used wisely. That's exactly what's happening with time. Every day, 86,400 seconds are given, and whatever isn't used wisely is lost forever. That time is being spent whether it's realized or not. The only question is it being spent on things that matter? Is it being spent with loved ones? Is it being spent building something meaningful? Is it being used to improve, grow, and experience life to the fullest? Or is it slipping away on distractions, meaningless arguments, or things that won't matter a year from now? The illusion of later. If only a year were left to live, how would it be spent? Would hours still be wasted on meaningless distractions? Would fear still prevent the pursuit of dreams? Would the opinions of people who don't matter still carry weight? Or would life finally begin? Would every sunrise be appreciated? Would the people who matter finally hear how much they mean? Would action finally be taken on the things that have always been postponed? The people who accomplish great things, who live fulfilling lives, who make the most of their time, they don't have more hours in the day than anyone else. They just use them better. They don't waste time complaining. They don't waste time waiting for the perfect moment. They don't waste time doing things that don't align with their purpose. They take action. They focus. They use every day as if it were their last, because one day it will be. Epictetus once asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That's the real question. How long will you wait? How many more hours, days, or years will be wasted before the decision is made to live fully? Your time is your life. Time is not something that can be paused. It can't be stored away for later use. Every moment spent is a moment closer to the end. But this isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to free you. It means there's no need to wait for the perfect moment to start. No need to wait for permission to live the life you want. You can start now. If something new needs to be learned, start today. If a broken relationship needs fixing, pick up the phone. If life needs to change, take the first step right now, because one day there will be no more time left. And when that day comes, will you look back with regret, knowing you wasted the life you were given? Or will you look back with peace, knowing you used every moment wisely? The choice is yours. You don't need more time, you need more urgency. Stop waiting, stop procrastinating, stop spending time on things that drain your energy and give nothing in return. Start living, because you could leave life at any moment. And when that moment comes, you want to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you lived fully, with no regrets. Remember, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. If you found this valuable, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who might need to hear it. Unlock the secret to becoming the most desirable man on earth. Watch this game-changing video to discover the steps to transform yourself into someone everyone wants to be around. Don't miss out on this opportunity to level up your life. Click now and start your journey to confidence, charisma, and true attraction.